Welcome back, Reptile fam, and welcome to another episode of Zenor's Reptile Talk. Today I'm going to try to tackle two questions that I got this week. I got this question from quite a few people, these questions, and the two questions are, well, first of all, is it still worth breeding ball python? They're kind of afraid that the ball python market's oversaturated. Another one I got is actually, I started breeding ball pythons. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to start my own business or my own hobby. Where do I start? I'm going to tackle it the way I would do it, so it's not the way you have to do it, but it's how I would do it, and this is like how I did do it. And I'm going to answer these questions to the best of my abilities of what I've experienced and what I've learned from breeding ball pythons in the last 6 years. I'm going to try to help you guys out to the best of my abilities right after this. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm going to tackle those two questions right now. So, is it still worth getting into the reptile world? I definitely believe so. I think that there is so many possibilities, especially with ball pythons, but actually there is so many different things you can get into. But ball pythons are the big thing right now, and I think they're going to keep on getting bigger. So here's the deal, is that I'm going to kind of answer two questions at once. I do believe it's worth getting into ball pythons, and here's why. First of all, it's a great hobby. So if you love animals and you love reptiles, the cool thing is this is a hobby that can actually make you money. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to make you rich. It's going to make you, millions of dollars. It possibly can. It really can. It depends on how focused you are, how sold out you are, and how far you want to go with this. For me, originally, this is actually a hobby that's turning into a business, and it's actually growing for me. But I had no idea. I had no desires to actually make money from this when I first started, which was actually around 99. I got some reptiles and I started breeding them and having fun with it. I never thought at that time that someday down the road I could actually make money doing this. But there is not a lot of hobbies out there that you can actually enjoy, have such a big community, and also make money doing it. Here's one of the big best kept secrets about breeding ball pythons for money. Actually, there's two things I'm going to tell you right here that I've learned, and you can say I'm wrong, but it's what I've learned, is that one of the things that drains lots of money from a lot of reptile breeders is that they become collectors. I've had a problem with this personally, is that I'm more worried about my collection than my profit. So the more snakes you keep on buying, sometimes we kind of buy things we don't need that makes no sense for our collection, and it's because it looks cool. And I've done this, and I've been guilty of this. I'm not gonna lie. I'm no better than anybody else, but I've learned to push away a lot of stuff and get what makes sense for my collection. And if I'm what's gonna make the most sense for what you're breeding. And also don't follow everything that's new out there. Everybody jumps on something new, and that's a cool thing sometimes, but a lot of times you spend so much money on something and it might calm down. Look at the banana for one thing. The banana, when it first came out, people were paying $25,000 for it, and now they sell for about $200 to $500, depends on if it's a female or male. So take your time and think about what you want to breed. That's one of the money savers I can tell you that really changes your life as a breeder. Become a breeder, not a collector. And if you want to become a collector, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a collector, but it's going to be a lot harder for you to make money if you keep on bringing new things in. Work with what you got and build from there, and buy snakes that make sense. Another thing I can tell you, don't go crazy with the high-end snakes. When you buy high-end snakes, you're mostly going to sell to breeders. And people might disagree with this one too. That's fine. For me, it doesn't work that way, and this is what I've learned, is that I'm only going to sell a $20,000 snake or a $10,000 snake to another breeder. And a lot of these breeders are they have friends and communities. They're going to buy from other breeders that they know and they're friends, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have no problem with that. I mean, if I'm going to buy a high-end snake, I'm probably going to buy it from Ozzy, or I'm going to buy it from Justin, because I know them and I respect them. And what I'm trying to stress here is that make your own high-end snakes. Take the time to start from ground zero and to make your own high-end snakes. The reason why I say that is because, well, I guess when I was younger, I wanted to jump into everything, and I wanted to go headlong, and I wanted to grab it and wrestle it down and make it mine. Nowadays, I've learned to take time, make choices, and just wait it out. Also, there's nothing wrong with waiting a few years to get to your end results. It'll save you money in the long run. I'm not saying it's the only way. I mean, if you want to get the head start, go ahead. But this works for most people. It worked for me. Again, this is not an exact science. Everybody has a different personality and does things a different way. That's what makes the reptile community so great. It is okay to disagree because we're all different and we did things differently. There's more than one path to success. I'm just giving you a way that I did it, and I know for a fact it'll work. When you're first starting out, you shouldn't be dumping tons and tons of money into your females. And I could be wrong. Some people might disagree with me on this one. I'm gonna get some nasty comments below. Because first of all, you need to realize that this is something you want to do. I'm not saying you should buy like normals or nothing like that, but I would personally, if I was you, this is my opinion, I would buy some females, maybe one or two jeans, but I wouldn't go crazy. What I'm saying is I wouldn't drop $3,000 or $4,000 on snakes if I'm just starting out. You know, maybe get you like a female bamboo or a female bongo or something like that. And the reason why I say this is because you guys need to decide if this is something you want to do. And when you're first starting out, try to keep your snakes in about the $2,000 and below range. And the reason why I say that is when you go to shows and you start selling online, that's what's going to sell for you when you first start out. Because that's the price point. You're mostly going to do pet grade ball pythons. Now, is that going to work for everybody? You know, you might be able to sell to someone you know, or you might have the credibility, or you might even have someone, a mentor, that can vouch for you. But a lot of us that are starting out will have no credibility, have no you know, experience, and so we have to build that up. And so most of us are going to have to sell pet grade snakes, and that's what's going to sell for you at these shows until you get that you know, that fame, that credibility, and that trustworthiness that people are looking for. Credibility is one of the most important things you can have as a breeder. This is one thing you have to work on constantly. And I know it seems like I'm jumping around, but I will bring this all together in the end. I'm just trying to answer all these questions at one time and kind of making sense, and it will make sense at the end. And the reason why I say try this out first is because you need to see if this is something you're going to want to do the rest of your life. So if you put all this money into all these snakes and to all this equipment, and you decide a year later this is not what you want to do, because a lot of people will do this actually because they realize it's a lot more work than they thought. You have to build up your credibility. It's a lot of hard work. You got to clean up rat cages and snake cages, and it's actually not easy. It's actually a labor of love. So your first year, you're going to learn how to breed them, and you know how to actually get them to hook up. Actually, in some places, if you have a climate change more, it's actually easier to actually have them mate. Sometimes you have to kind of make a climate change. So there's lots of there's lots of learning process and how to incubate the eggs. Truthfully, some of you guys are probably going to lose some eggs the first time around because you'll have some mold issues. It's a learning process, and once you start doing it, and after a few times, it clicks in your head and you understand about it. But it's no matter how much I tell you, you're gonna have to do it for yourself. The same thing about marketing and selling your snakes. After you sell a few and you kind of figure it out, it'll click in your head and it'll say, well, that makes sense. It's something that it's, no matter how many videos you watch and how much you've seen, you have to do it yourself to learn. And that's what this process is. And it might be something you don't want to do. And you know, if you don't invest too much into it, you're not hurting yourself. You can just move on. And if it's something you want, you can actually go forward. That's why I always say, start small, and then if it's something you like, go full bore. And on my last video, you can look at the comment. There's actually a gentleman I was talking to saying that you can actually make money the first year. And that is true, because I even have a video showing that you can. And I know it's been done because I've had friends that did it. But for the most of you, you're not going to make money the first year. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of you guys don't have the knowledge or a mentor to help you out. If you can find you a mentor, man, go for it, because they'll help you out and they'll shave lots of time off. But honestly, I'd say about 80-90% of you guys are going to take a few years down the road before you even start seeing any money. And I would recommend putting that money back into it if you're going to keep on doing this long term. But it can be done, and I know it can be done, but being fast doesn't always make it better. I'm going to talk to you about some pitfalls of jumping the gun. And when I started, I had about 7 friends that started about the same time I did. I met them at the reptile shows. We became friends, and we were all around the same time. Some were a couple months before me, maybe a year, and some were after me. I'll be straight up honest with you that out of the 7 friends I have, I'm the only one that's still doing it. I do have other friends that I met that still do it. I talked to you about one of them on a video not too long ago. COVID-19 hit, and they had financial issues because they couldn't sell their animals, and they actually closed up shop. They didn't stop breeding reptiles, and they didn't stop keeping reptiles, but they're not doing it as a business anymore, just for fun. And the reason is because I think personally, I'm not trying to pick on them, but they jumped the gun. And the thing is that everybody's in a big hurry to become the next breeder and make a business. Everybody wants to work for themselves, and it sounds really great, but when the rubber hits the road, there's a lot of responsibility on you and your shoulders. And it could be different for everybody, because like, say that you are not married and you're single, it's gonna be a lot easier for someone who doesn't have a family, has house payment, has a car payment. They have a lot more to gamble with. And that's one thing that I always say is like, take the time, build the foundation, and build a strong foundation of your breeding knowledge, your collection, and then start backing off at work. Maybe go to part-time or find another flow of income and kind of like tuck away some money. So when those times come, if you have that strong foundation, you're not going to be rattled so much. Even like that big thing comes like COVID, you will be a lot more secure if you have something to bank on, like a big collection. But when you jump the gun and you instantly leave your job and you only live on that money coming in, it's going to be a lot harder for you to survive if something hits you hard than someone who's been spent the time and tucked away some nuts for winter and had a nice foundation. That's one thing I say. Like, I am now 44 years old, and I've learned with age that it's better to take time and be a little more secure and safe, but it's also because I have a family. But if you're young and you're 20 and you don't have that family, you have a lot less to lose, so go for it. But I'm just speaking from experience and what I've seen. I think if you take the time, it really helps you out. But if you are a gambler and you're young and have no one else to provide for, go for it. Another secret is if you can stay clear of hatchlings when you first start up, it'll really help you out. It'll shave some time off of your weight. And the reason why I say that is because if you get a 100-gram snake, it's going to take a lot longer for it to grow up. It's pretty easy online to find 800, 600-gram snakes. It's going to shave about a year off. That whole time you're feeding those snakes, it's going to cost you money with rats if you're doing frozen or even breeding them yourself. And it's also going to, a lot faster, you're going to actually get some money in. If possible, if you know a reputable breeder or you have a friend and they're getting rid of some breeder females that they're upgrading, you can get those too. But unfortunately, a lot of times you will get, what's the word, I guess, screwed by people that are selling adults a lot of times because they're just trying to get rid of them and because something's wrong with them, or they're not breeding or they're not eating. And I've seen that in the past. But if you know the person and you trust the person, you can do that. But I would recommend, if possible, at least try to start with sub-adults. It'll shave time and it'll thank me later. Here we go, trying to make sense of the whole thing. So yes, I do believe there is a lot of money left in breeding ball pythons, especially in the pet grade area. I mean, people are begging for them. I think it's a great pet and it's a low maintenance pet and people are eating them up. And I have no problem selling them. 2, I think if you are not in a big hurry and you are trying to, say, build a retirement, or you're just trying to find a hobby that's going to start making you money, I think you should build a foundation and take the time and to get where you want to be. Don't jump into it. I'm not saying you can't jump into it, but honestly, you will thank yourself later if you actually take the time and build that foundation. And also, it's a great hobby. It's fun, and if you love animals, there's a great community out there, and it's also fun to go to shows. They really get you hyped up. I love them. I like talking to people. I'm an extrovert, obviously, and I like hanging out with people that are like-minded. And even though we don't always agree, we still love to be together. And everybody has their own way of doing things. And like I said earlier, there's more than one road to success. And we love sharing it and helping each other out. It's a great community. It's almost perfect. There is a few bad eggs, like with anything you do. But definitely go for it, guys. And you know what? You will thank me because you'll love it. And you know what? You might not like it. Maybe, you try it out a little bit and this is not something you want to do. But I believe most of you will love it. And I will see you guys maybe at some of these shows. Anyways, guys, I hope that helps you guys out. I had all these questions about the same thing, and so I thought I'd make this video. Anyways, if you guys wouldn't mind checking out some of these other videos right here. Also, if you guys wouldn't mind subscribing, I'm getting close to 1,000. Thank you guys. When I first started this channel, I wasn't thinking I was going to get this far, but you guys have taken me this far, and I thank you for it. Anyways, guys, I love you. Peace later. Bye. I'll see you next time. Peace.